Hollywood, the home of the rich and the famous, the birthplace of cinema. The glamour, the riches, and the lifestyles leave us hanging on their every moment. But not all of its secrets are the glitzy success stories they seem. In fact, Hollywood, whilst propelling some to superstardom, has chewed up and spat out more ambitious hopefuls than you or I have had hot dinners. It has been host to scandal, murder, crime, and every inch of it has a secret to spill, if somebody's listening. Some of those will go to the grave, and some are already talking from beyond it. Hollywood has always been home to the devious, whether it be money-pinching studios, payroll drug dealers, shady fixers, mobsters, or simply stars with too much money and little to no inhibitions. It's time to peek behind the curtain. Let's take a look at some of the ghosts of the past and what macabre tales they have to tell. In this episode, we explore the shocking incident involving director John Landis and the tragic events on the set of Twilight Zone, the movie. Our story begins with John Landis, a talented filmmaker known for his comedic genius. Born on August 3, 1950, in Chicago, Landis's rise to fame started in the 1970s with hits like Animal House and The Blues Brothers. By the early 80s, Landis was a household name in Hollywood, but his career was about to take a dark and unexpected turn. In 1982, John Landis was at the helm of Twilight Zone, the movie, a high-profile project that would soon be marred by tragedy. The film featured 4 segments, and it was the first segment, titled Time Out, that would forever haunt Landis. During the production of Time Out, Landis made a fateful decision to include child actors Micah Din-Lay and Renee Shin-Yi Chen without the required permits, violating California's child labor laws. The children were cast after their uncle, Peter Wai-tae Chen, was approached by a colleague involved in the production. They were never informed of the dangerous conditions they would face on set. On that ill-fated night, the scene called for actor Vic Morrow to carry the 2 children through a simulated Vietnam War setting. The presence of a low-flying helicopter and explosive effects created a deadly combination. Tragically, the helicopter's rotor blades struck Morrow and the children, resulting in their deaths. The accident shook Hollywood to its core. In the aftermath of the horrific accident, a trial took place that would divide public opinion and rock the entertainment industry. The defense claimed that the explosions were detonated at the wrong time, pointing fingers at Landis for his repeated insistence on risky shots. In October 1984, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, released its findings, attributing the accident to the proximity of the helicopter to the special effects explosions and a lack of coordination between the pilot and Landis. Landis, along with others involved in the production, faced involuntary manslaughter charges in a 9-month trial that began in 1986. Despite a bitter and divisive trial, the defendants were all acquitted of manslaughter charges in connection with the accident. However, the world learned the full extent of Landis's cavalier attitude to safety. The scene itself was not originally scripted. Landis assembled an explosives unit and rented a helicopter in order to shoot the scene. However, the production ran well into the early hours of the morning. But Landis continued to film, even though he didn't have the proper permits to allow the children to continue working. In reality, Chen and Lei shouldn't have been on the set in the first place. On top of the illegality of allowing children to work that late, Landis was also required to have a permit that signed off on the children working near explosions. Having never sought out the permits in the first place, Landis opted to pay the children's parents under the table in order to compensate them following California's child labor laws, and the tragedy had far-reaching consequences for Hollywood and filmmaking safety standards. Following on from the Twilight Zone deaths, the Directors Guild of America issued formal, firmer safety guidelines. Safety committees and regulations were established to ensure the safety of actors and crew members on set. Filming accidents decreased significantly, but the scars of that tragic night still lingered. As time marched on, despite the tighter regulations, the memory of past tragedies slowly began to fade, and the cutting of budgetary corners has continued to put the lives of actors and crew members in jeopardy. The same day the verdict was handed down in the Twilight Zone case, a helicopter crash on the Manila set of Braddock Missing in Action 3 killed 4 Filipino soldiers. Camera assistant Sarah Jones was killed by a freight train while working on the low-budget film Midnight Rider in 2014. And apparent negligence on sets resulted in the shooting deaths of the actor Brandon Lee during the production of The Crow in 1993, and of the cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of Rust in 2021. Today, John Landis remains a controversial figure in Hollywood, forever linked to the tragic events of that fateful night. However, has still remained in gainful employment. In 2009, Landis signed a petition in support of director Roman Polanski, who had been detained while traveling to a film festival in relation to his 1977 sexual abuse charges, which the petition argued would undermine the tradition of film festivals as a place for works to be shown freely and safely, and that arresting filmmakers traveling to neutral countries could open the door for actions of which no one can know the effects. In the world of showbiz, the glitz and glamour often conceal a darker truth. The story of John Landis and the Twilight Zone tragedy serves as a sobering reminder that in Hollywood, the pursuit of perfection can sometimes lead to unthinkable consequences. In the glittering world of Hollywood, fame and fortune often come at a heavy price, but not necessarily for those who inadvertently played God with the lives of those who have taken that trusting step onto the yellow brick road.